Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of the Poker News Podcast, and this is going to be a good one. I am Chad Holloway, joined by my co-host Jeff Platt, and we are going to be talking with actually three different guests this episode. And look, we're not going to sugarcoat it. The big star, the big highlight is one Mr. Johnny Chan, Jeff. I'm very excited about that.
The master, you had mentioned that this was a possibility for the last week or so, and then you got it. You nabbed the Johnny Chan interview. That's about as cool as it gets. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, Poker Hall of Famer, just a legend in the poker world. And we're also going to be joined by Ryan Feldman and Nick Vertucci of Hustler Casino Live. That is set to debut on August 3rd. We chatted with them back in November. Wow, that's like 8 months ago, Jeff.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that long ago when they first announced that they were launching their new show, their new live stream show at Hustler Casino in California. It's ready to debut. It's going to be very exciting. So I sat down and got the update with both of those guys. So we're going to have all those interviews for you later in the show. In the meantime, there's a lot of news to talk about. A bunch of WSOP bracelet winners have been minted. And unfortunately, we have lost a poker legend, Jeff. And I guess that's right where we should start. 6-time bracelet winner Lane Flack unexpectedly passed away the other day.
Man, so sad. Found dead at his home on Monday night. And obviously all of these moments are always really sad for us to discuss, but especially when somebody is young. And Lane was 52 years old. He was a vibrant personality, to say the least, a guy who always had a smile on his face. And a guy, Chad, who I think of, and tell me if you agree, is like one of the OGs. You know, it's like back in the day in the poker boom, it's like Lane Flack would be mentioned among poker's biggest names, and he's kind of held that forever for 20 years, and he kept popping up and popping up and popping up, and it's just a tremendously sad loss for the poker community, I would say.
Yeah, and it was felt. You could see it across social media. So many people weighing in, sharing memories about him, and just like you said, reiterating that he was such a force in the poker world, and a positive one at that. He was always putting a smile on people's faces. He was always cracking jokes. I've seen a lot of people saying he had the quickest mind, the sharpest wit that they had ever seen in the poker world. And my interactions with Lane over the years seemed to support that. He was always jovial. He was always had some sort of quip that he was ready to rattle off. And, 6-time bracelet winner, and had the nickname back-to-back Flack, which is one of the greatest nicknames in poker. And it's interesting. So he won back-to-back bracelets, won 2 bracelets in back-to-back years at the World Series of Poker in 2002, 2003. But he really got the nickname back in 1999 when he shipped back-to-back titles in back-to-back days at I think it was the LA Poker. No, it was the Poker of Legends, I believe it was, out in LA. So he had a lot of repeats, if you will, and got that moniker back-to-back Flack. And like you said, just 52 years old. It just seems gone too soon, much like a good friend of his years ago in Gavin Smith.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's so true. I played next to Lane at Gavin Smith's fundraiser when he passed to raise some money for his family. And again, just always smiling, talking about Gavin, his face would light up. I tweeted this every time you saw Lane Flack, he had a smile on his face. Right. And a lot of people do when they have all the chips, when somebody has a lot of chips, they're usually pretty friendly, easygoing, easy to talk to, smiling, laughing, having a good time. A lot of those people, when they're short stacked, are not the same way. Lane Flack, though, just, always smiling, always happy to be there. Did you get to know his daughter a little bit? Did I see that?
Yeah, I actually know his daughter Haley fairly well. She is still based back in South Dakota in the Deadwood area. So when the Mid-States Poker Tour would go over there, our paths crossed frequently because she works in the poker industry. She's worn many different hats, I think, from like a dealer and floor person. I think she might play a little bit herself. And she did commentary with me at one of the final tables.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, we've stayed in touch over the years, and she actually reached out to me after news of her father passing and the piece that we wrote on Poker News, kind of just to say, thank you for doing the piece on him, which, we chatted briefly back and forth, and I told her, hey, look, I know this is a very rough time and it's still fresh and early, but if ever you want to share any stories about your dad and things like that, we're more than happy to chat with you. And maybe that will come to fruition at some point, because I'm sure there are a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
One of mine that I vaguely recall was one year at the World Series of Poker. As a field reporter, I was wandering the field and, looking for hands, and I keep my eyes to the ground sometimes to make sure I'm not kicking people's sodas over or keep running into their backpacks. I'm going to trip. And I was walking and I seen a chip on the floor, and I kind of looked down, and it was, I can't remember if it was $1,000 chip or a $5,000 chip, like real cash chip, not a tournament chip. And I'm like, hey, this was in the pavilion room, and it was super busy. And I kind of looked around. When there's a chip of that magnitude just laying there, sometimes you can guess who it belongs to. And the closest player to it was one Lane Flack. So I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, and pointed, "Is that yours?" And he looked and he kind of smiled and picked it up, and it was his, and he was very thankful for it, for pointing it out to him. And that's not much of a story, but that was one of them that I remember. And then the others, just seeing him and that smile on his face. Yeah. And I just saw him at the Win Millions earlier this month, not that long ago, doing this thing. And it was one of those, he lit up a room. He had a presence about him, and he was a poker character. And it was fun to watch him when he was firing on all cylinders to engage with other players at the table and table talk and things like that.
We saw him at the U.S. Poker Open last month, and he still kind of carries that buzz, like Lane Flack's here. Like, this is awesome. I think you think of poker players back in the early 2000s as just being super tight and playing, ABC back then was just like, okay, ace queen, maybe I'll play, but ace king or better, we probably get in the mix. Not Lane Flack. Lane Flack was awesome. He was aggressive. He kind of set that tone for the new model of just being super aggro, and he was just always a blast to watch. And Chad, I bet that smile on his face was pretty big when you reminded him that he had a 5K chip on the floor.
Right. I was thinking about this, and I actually thought about this prior to his passing, because look, he's a 6-time bracelet winner. Mm-hmm. He's a star of the game. He's been around for a while. I thought, like, here's a potential candidate for the Poker Hall of Fame sort of thing. He's certainly got the resume, has made such a big impact. And I think maybe one of the reasons he just really hasn't been bantered about or nominated too much or in the past is because he was so young, right? Like, nobody you have to be 40 to be nominated. He was only 52. I don't know. I think with 6 bracelets, though, that's a pretty powerful case. I'm going to pull up the WSOP. Let's see. There are only 16 people in the history of the World Series of Poker who have 6 bracelets. Wow. There are only 8 people who have more than 6 bracelets. So he's tied with the likes of Daniel Negreanu, Chris Ferguson, John Hennigan, TJ Cloutier. 3 of those guys are already in the Poker Hall of Fame. Yeah. And he's got more bracelets than, a Scotty Wynn, Michael Mizrahi, Jason Mercier, Stu Unger. So it's
more cashes than Phil Ivey, than Johnny Chan, than Doyle Brunson at the series. I mean, we're starting to put together a compelling case. And also, of course, what's so sad about this, if Lane, he would fire every summer for the next 15 to 20 years, obviously. So we know that bracelet count had a real chance to be pushed into the top 8, pushed into the top 6, perhaps, joining Seidel with 8. But yeah, I think the argument could be there for Poker Hall of Fame for Lane Flack.
He has over $5 million in lifetime earnings, according to the Hendon Mob. And that's that number at one time was definitely up towards the all-time leaderboard, or much higher on it, before this day and age skewed because of the high rollers and things like that. And his poker resume, if you look at it, his first cash came all the way back in 1994, and he has been cashing consistently since then.
Yeah,
and
every year.
Yeah, his last bracelet coming back in 2008, $577,000 for that win. That was his career high. So he's amassed over $5 million, with his biggest cash being over 500,000. He had never had a big 7-figure score. So to me, that does just scream consistency. You look at, like we said already, the bracelets. I do think that there's certainly a case to be made. I think there was a case to be made for a while now, but like I said, I think just he was kind of being overlooked a little bit. But I'm sure there will be others revisiting that. And yeah, this one was tough, Jeff. We've lost a lot of people over the years, even recently in the poker world. Noel Furlong, the 1999 main event champ we talked about not too long ago, and it's just a shame when a true character like Elaine Flack passes away, because I think everybody just has that story, has a Elaine Flack story, or at least a good memory, and connected with him if they saw him on TV or during the poker boom. And I think just how many people he reached and how big of an impact he made is being shown, like I said, by all the memories that are being shared on social media.
Yeah, well said. You can search Lane Flack on Twitter and you can find just an abundance of stories, of comments about him. It will truly, truly be missed.
Well, Jeff, let's get into some other WSOP bracelet winner news. But before we do, thank a quick sponsor, Elite Chip Care. They're doing some great work out there. So thank you to them for sponsoring the Poker News podcast. And here's a little shout out.
Are your chips dirty and unsanitary? Elite Chip Care's ultrasonic cleaners kill bacteria and pathogens without using chemicals. Protect your team from potentially hazardous chemicals, UV, and gases. For daily sanitizing of your chips, our laboratory oven will eradicate most viruses using only heat. Up to 2,500 chips sanitized in just 3 minutes. Avoid the reoccurring expense of costly chemicals, UV bulbs, and gases. Safe, inexpensive, and sustainable. Visit EliteChipCare.com.
All right, we are back to talk WSOP gold bracelets. There have been a bunch awarded on WSOP.com since our last show. Poker News has been live reporting them all, and we're going to start with event number 15, which was the $5,300 high roller. This was a freeze out. It attracted 188 entries, or players in this case, because it was a freeze out. This is a pretty impressive number to me, Jeff. I'm not going to lie.
I was impressed by the turnout overall as well. I think I predicted like 93, and it was just blown out of the water, and the stars came out to play. Like when you see Nick Schulman and Aliam Shurovich in the mix, when Jason Somerville decides, you know what, it's time for me to come back to the online poker world and play in a WSOP event, it's pretty stacked. And of course, it resulted in a stacked final table.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 100 in this one, but to get 188 was impressive. And like you said, the final table was pretty stacked. You had Thomas Boyven made it there, Joshua Ray, Martin Zamani, who's a name you're going to want to remember because we're going to be talking about him very shortly here, but he finished in 5th place for $56,000. Alex Foxen, of course, the Mr. High Roller is there. He finishes in 4th place for almost $66,000. Jesse Yaganuma, the first man to ever knock me out of the WSOP main event, is still crushing it. He's got there 3rd place for $85,000. And then the title came down to Justin Saliba and Jonathan Dokler. The latter won the WSOP online event number 1 last year. He was the first one to ship a bracelet, but here he had to finish for a runner-up for almost $150,000 because Justin Saliba came out on top for a $250,000 payday in his first WSOP bracelet. And this was an interesting one for me, Jeff, because I'm like, man, I've been hearing that name and I couldn't quite place it. And then I realized Justin Saliba is a guy I work with via email quite often because he helps Jonathan Little with his pokercoaching.com. He helps facilitate some of the communication and content that Poker News does with Jonathan. And so I'm like, oh, shit, that's where I know this name from. And he actually came up and introduced himself in person during the Win Millions. And then here he is shipping this high roller title. So I actually reached out and I said, hey, congratulations. This is great. We were just chatting. I said, let's do an interview for Poker News. So we did one. It's going to be in article form. That will be coming up on pokernews.com. So you'll get a chance to really get to know Justin Saliba, the WSOP bracelet winner, a high roller champion, and really just who he is, because he's going to be around the poker world for a while. And I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, Saliba keeps popping up on the scene. We saw him at US Poker Open a couple months ago and then Poker Go Cup. And kind of like he was like, wait a minute, this guy, I think I've played with him in like the 400s and the 600s at Venetian. And here he is firing the 10Ks, 25Ks. He says he's really comfortable and confident in his game and has just been putting in the work. And they say it, and it's really corny and it's really cliche that hard work pays off. But hey, when you see the score of $250,000, it's hard to argue that. So congrats to Saliba for winning event number 15. Event number 16, how about a 600 PLO 8 6 max? And that was won by Alan Chang. That is his second WSOP bracelet. He won his first last year in the 1K freeze out. Has a couple $100,000 in career live tournament earnings. He defeated Edwin Roman. Heads up, Ryan Stoker finished in third. Lucky Chewy made the final table. He finished in sixth. Some of the others who cashed included Ryan DePaulo, Galen Hall, David Williams, Nathan Gamble, Rich Jew, somebody who did not cash, Chad, Norman Chad. I think he was eliminated fairly early on in this tournament.
Yeah, well, it's good to see Norman there grinding on online. There was event number 17. This was a $400 no limit hold'em 8 max. It attracted an 1,125 entry field, so this was a big one. And after 11 hours of play, it was Justin Lapka, aka Lappy Poker. He's pretty well known in the poker industry. He is a vibrant streamer, does the online grind, and here he was at a final table. That included Chance Corneth, who ultimately finished in fourth place. It also had Uki Dottie, who goes by Oops, My Bad. He finished runner-up to Lapka in a pretty good heads-up match. He took home almost $47,000, but it was Lapka coming out on top for $75K and the bracelet. This is one of those that I'm pretty excited about. We had a vlogger win a bracelet last year in Ryan DePaulo. You also had Ethan Yao win a bracelet last year. He was a streamer, much like Justin Lapka. So seeing Lapka get one here, it's one of those where I think it's good for the game overall, because he's going to continue to do his Twitch streaming thing. And now he's just bolstered by being a WSOP bracelet winner. Yeah,
I think so too. And he's a guy who's made just a bunch of deep runs, it seems like, over these last couple of weeks. It's interesting, Chad, looking in the notables, and obviously the stacked field will bring a stack list of notables: Jeremiah Williams, Ryan Lang, Tony Dunn, Stan Zeno, Jesse Sylvia, et cetera, et cetera. Chad, I finished 52nd in this event. So if you could just tell whoever wrote this article. Oh, Chad Holloway wrote this article. Yeah, I mean, I could maybe receive a mention. It's so rare that I cash in a WSOP event. Maybe a mention in the notables. That sound good? Next time. It is good. It is good to see Jeffy Platt back at the virtual tables. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right, let us move on to number 18 of the 2021 World Series of Poker, and that would be the inaugural North American Open. A lot of history behind this event, of course. I don't know. It's kind of the same, but I like it. You name events, you give them different titles. This was a 1K. It drew just a fantastic turnout, which of course it's going to on a Sunday. 756 entries, a prize pool of almost $700,000, and it is James Gilbert. He goes by Dan Friel online. He wins his first World Series of Poker bracelet. He wins more than $137,000. Landon Tice continues to struggle in heads up play. He finishes second for about $85K. Brett Schaefer in third. Felix Vandeput, Tony Dunst, Francis Anderson, William Corvino, Daniel Lazarus, Daniel D'Agostino round out the final table. Chrissy B made a deep run in this one. We're starting to see Chrissy B 24 on American turf in online poker. Chance Corneth, another deep run. Jonathan Dokler, Ian Steinman, and then Lappy was trying to go back to back. He finished in 79th.
And there was also event number 14, $2,200 high roller. This was a tournament that attracted 507 runners. And I said earlier, not long ago, remember Martin Zamani's name, and that's because he was the victor in this tournament for almost $93,000. Goes by Bathroom Line on WSOP.com. Ryan DePaulo, just talked about him. Yep. He made a run at bracelet number 2, ultimately came up short in a pretty sick hand where this was a PLO high roller, by the way. And so they both
PLO crazy H, chat. Let's be, let's get this right. Let's really nail it down for this PLO crazy.
That's right. Now people are like, oh, what does that mean? Were 8s wild? No, it was just a regular PLO, but
regular tournament.
It was a sick hand where Ryan DePaulo flopped the straight. His opponent also flopped the same straight. DePaulo had a flush redraw, but his opponent had flopped 2 pair. Ooh. So they both had free rolls of their own, and the latter ended up filling up on the river, and just like that, DePaulo was gone. So that was a pretty sick one. This was the one day of the year that we weren't streaming. You were off, Jesse was off,
yeah.
or one day of the month, rather, not the year. That'd be a lot of work for you guys. But Brad Owen and Andrew Nemi fired up a stream because DePaula was there, and we're following the journey. So that was pretty cool to see those guys getting in there and doing the commentary. And then, like I said, it was Martin Zamani coming out on top for his first bracelet. This was one of those, Zamani puts in the work. He puts in the grind.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him at the Win Millions. I remember seeing him in pretty much every tournament that's been going on WSOP.com. It was actually his third final table. I mentioned earlier he had went deep in another final table. I think he finished fourth in event number 4, which was a super turbo. And then, like we mentioned not long ago, fifth in that other high roller. So Martin Zamani really killing it this online series.
Yeah, he can play the game, and like you said, really puts in the work and plays every single tournament, it seems, live or online. And Chad, the $3,200 high roller wrapped up in the wee hours of the morning. It's Sang Lee taking that one down for more than $240,000. 312 entries in this one, a prize pool of almost $1 million. It's Lee's first career bracelet. He beats friend of the streams, Buzz Juice. Daniel Buzzcombe finished in second. David Coleman, the new kid on the block, the newest superstar in the game, finished in third for about $100K. Jeremy Osmus with that 6th place finish. John Reardon finished in 8th. And of course, with a buy-in of $3,200, you're going to find a very stacked field. Ancino in the money, Matt Stout in the money, Joseph Chong, Ralph Perry in the money. And that gets us to today. So of course, we got to remind you that just about every single day, I'll have featured table coverage presented by Poker News. That gets going around 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then we'll send it over to Poker News, twitch.tv/Poker News. Jesse Fullen will have the call of the official final tables at the 2021 World Series of Poker Online.
You guys have been doing a great job streaming. I'm tuned in almost every day as we're doing live updates at Poker News. We'll be doing live updates to the very end. We'll also be doing the GG bracelet events. So lots of WSOP action still to come. And then, of course, WSOP coming up in the fall. We're going to talk to 10-time bracelet winner Johnny Chan very shortly here. But let me ask you this, Jeff, because it's a question I'm hearing more and more. WSOP fall. Any chance that this thing doesn't happen because of, all this pandemic COVID developments as of late?
No, I mean, I guess the way I talked about this probably in December of 2019 or January 2020 was the same way. But no, I mean, sure. Is Vegas a hotspot for COVID? Absolutely. Will it probably continue to be? Sure. The serious cases, though, are not, there's no spike there. And that would be the most worrisome, I think. Now, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. When Party Poker brings back its Millions Tour, they'll be in Cyprus, and they're going to require proof of vaccination. I don't see anything in the U.S. going that same route, but it's possible for the World Series of Poker that if COVID gets bad, you might have to show proof of vaccination just to get in the building. But as of right now, Chad, I don't see any kind of issues with the World Series of Poker getting delayed, getting canceled, anything of the sort, because the amount of serious cases is not worrisome or troublesome at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I recall once before the first pandemic where I was like, there's no chance. I'm not.
Right. And that makes me hesitant a little bit, is because we were so no chance last year.
Yeah, I'm not going to take that same stance. Do I think it's a non-zero chance? Absolutely. Yeah. Do I think it's a good chance? Probably not, but I do think it's a real possibility. I think it's just kind of have to wait and see, but pay attention to the road signs this time around. So we're doing live updates for it. So that's a lot of logistics. We have to line up a lot of people, do a lot of planning, and we've talked about it amongst our team. And it's one of those that, like, look, the WSOP is never going to take the initiative and just cancel on their own, right? No. Like, they want this to happen. They're going to try to make it happen. So pay attention to other warning signs, like our other big events being canceled in Vegas or throughout the country, concerts or conventions and things like that, sporting events. If you start to see stuff like that happening, I think it would be a lot more cause for concern. But as of right now, we're not seeing that. Mm-hmm. If we have to wear masks, if we have to do a few little things, it would be inconvenient. But look, we had a very inconvenient year in all of 2020. So I think most people can put up with it. But as of right now, I think everyone should feel fairly confident that the WSOP is going to move forward. I know that they're planning for it to move forward. And unless we see some more government restrictions or things like that, I would plan for business as usual. But like I said, just pay attention to the road signs.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Exactly. So, all right, Jeff, let us take this time then to shift gears. We've been talking about WSOP. We've been talking about bracelets. And I think this is the time that we've got to talk to one Mr. Johnny Chan. He's a legend of the game. Very excited to have him on the show. We're going to talk a bit about an upcoming series that he has. So for those of you who don't know, Johnny Chan has been down in the Texas poker scene. He has a card room down there. It was formerly known as 52 Social in Houston. It is now known as Johnny Chan's 88 Social. It's the biggest poker room in Houston. I actually fired it up when I interviewed Johnny, and this was really in the middle of a Monday. And I'm like, all right, let me see. And they had like 20 tables going on a random Monday in the middle of the day. And I just thought, wow, that's killing it. That's bigger than most Vegas poker rooms at this moment. They've got some of the highest stakes games. They also offer 1-3, all the way up to, I think they had like a 200 and 400 mix game on their offering. And of course, Johnny Chan is there. You can go there, you can visit him, you can play against him if you want. There is a August series coming up called Johnny Chan's Master Classic. It is going to run from August 11th through the 23rd. It's got, I'm going to get this, Jeff, I like this a lot. It's got 1.988 million in guarantees. You know why it has 1.988 million?
Well, 1988, perhaps.
That's it. Yeah, that's the last time you won the WSOP main event, going back-to-back in 87 and 88. So I definitely like that little branding that they've worked in there. And Johnny Chan, will get into that a little bit more. We're also going to talk about, hey, Johnny, you want to come and get in some high-stakes poker? We've got all these high rollers going on. Or how about high-stakes duel against some guy named Mr. Phil Hellmuth, maybe? And it was very exciting to talk to him about that and more. So here is my interview with Johnny Chan.
Hey, Chad, what's going on, Poker News?
Thanks for taking the time. I certainly appreciate it, man.
All right, let's talk about poker rooms in Texas.
Yeah, let's do it. You're down there in Houston right now, correct?
Right now, we got 20 games going. 25, 25, 50, full game with a list. Can I put you on the list? No, I'm just kidding.
I wish I could. I actually saw that. I looked on Poker Atlas, and I seen that you had that many games going, and I thought it was just, that's crazy. It's Monday, in the middle of a Monday, and you have that many games going.
That's normal, okay? Usually more. But anyway, we are the biggest poker room in Texas and get the best action in Texas, in Omaha.
Yeah, I see it. I've seen on Poker Atlas some of the games as high as like a 200, 400 mix, a 25, 25 PLO. And then you got the, your normal 1-3 games for Hold'em and PLO. So you really offer players all kinds of things.
We want players from all walks of life and all limits to come here and play. And it doesn't matter how high you play or how small you play. We got all, you name it, we got them. I mean, senior citizens, whatever,
Yeah, that's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about how you became involved or what inspired you to open up Johnny Chan's 88 Social down there in Texas?
Well, yeah, before I got here, there's a casino called Prime, got all the business, and I went there and looked at it, and they didn't know how to run the poker room. They treat the customers like they're not even there. They just mismanagement. So I figured out, hey, if I open a nice poker room, bigger, and know how to treat the customers and treat the employees, maybe I can, take the business away. Sure enough. Look at where I'm at now.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, your name alone in the poker world, everybody knows it. So you open your own room. I mean, I got to imagine that poker fans are going to want to visit you, want to check out the poker room. If they do, is there a chance? I mean, do you play there a lot? Are you there a lot? Can they come there and see you?
I play here almost every day. We're going to have a big tournament in August the 11th through the 23rd. Almost a $2 million guarantee. We guarantee 1988. When I won the World Series of Poker?
Yep.
It's 1.9 million guarantee. So it's gonna be a home run. I think everybody from anywhere is gonna be here from the globe.
I checked it out actually online. It looks like it's going to run from August 11th through the 23rd. It's Johnny Chan's Master Classic. Like you said, $1.988 million in guarantees, and a big part of that is a $1 million guaranteed main event that costs just $1,100 to buy into. I mean, that's a mid-major, a reasonable buy-in, $1,100, but that's a huge guarantee.
I'm going to turn one of the Texans and be a millionaire.
Well,
but anyway, you know what? I made that 1.1988, right? That's the year I won the World Series of Poker.
Right.
When I beat Eric Seidel.
That's right. Yeah,
okay.
that was famous in rounders.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I made that price at 1.988.
Well, hey, that's awesome. I know it's going to be a great series. I think Poker News is going to try to maybe do something there. We'll at least keep an eye on everything that's happening there. Speaking of keeping an eye,
Jack,
yeah,
you guys are welcome to come here anytime, okay?
I certainly appreciate it, and I'd be keen to check it out. I've experienced a little bit of the Texas poker rooms, and I know it's a hot spot for poker. I mean, really, there's nowhere else in the United States right now, I think, that is big for poker right now as you guys down in Texas.
It's the best Omaha action in the world. I mean, anytime you walk in, we get 5-10 games going around the clock. So you looking for action? Here's the place. Johnny Chan's 88 Show. Don't you ever forget it, as long as you live.
Well, let me ask you something. I just saw you in Vegas not long ago during the Win Millions. You were out here playing that, took a little break from the Texas scene. Do you get out here to Vegas much, and do you keep an eye on the larger poker world, all the high roller events and stuff that are going on?
Right now I'm focused on in my club. I'm putting a lot of money into this place, try to build it. And
sure.
Once that take off the ground and take care of itself, I'm gonna be back in the high roller and high stakes of poker after dark, whatever you got going in Vegas. I love Vegas.
Cool. Yeah, and like you say, poker after dark. One thing I've seen, there's this high stakes duel. If you're aware, Phil Hellmuth has been doing quite well on it, and I just thought, wow, this would be a great format to see Johnny Chan get Phil Hellmuth in a little revenge, maybe.
Absolutely. Back in 1990, 1998, 1989.
Right.
Yeah, I think we can do something about that. Maybe next year. Okay.
That'd be awesome. I think poker fans would absolutely love that. I also wanted
that's gonna be a good bet.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can bet on me.
Well, I hope the folks at Poker Go are listening and can get in touch with you and make that happen, because that would be a dream come true. I want to ask you.
Good.
I want to ask you real quick, Johnny, about the Poker Hall of Fame. You're a member. This is near and dear to my heart. I love poker history. There's going to be somebody inducted here this year, later in the fall, with the World Series of Poker. And I'm just curious: is the Poker Hall of Fame something that means anything to you, or is there anybody that you know that you think deserves to be in?
Of course. There's a lot of them. I mean, I got a lot of old timers and. Jesus, like Patrick Antonio,
Yeah. He's Patrick. Yeah, Patrick Antonius just became eligible last year when he turned 40, so he'd certainly be a good one, I think.
He's my man. Okay.
That'd be another.
Answer your question?
Yeah, it did, and that would be another good high stakes duel match: Johnny Chan versus Patrick Antonius. I think the poker fans would love that one.
Any match I'll be on is gonna be a good one to watch. This way, Jack.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Well, Johnny, I know you're a very busy man. You are down there running Houston's biggest poker room, Johnny Chan's 88 Social. A reminder to those listening, there will be the Johnny Chan's Master Classic that's going to run August 11th through the 23rd. $1.988 million, 1988, the same year that Johnny Chan beat Eric Seidel for the WSOP main event. Johnny, keep it rolling down there.
Well, yep, the best action in town, and the whole stick of Texas. Okay, okay. Thanks, Chad.
All right, welcome back, Jeff. I got to tell you, man, it was great to talk with Johnny Chan. He's just such a legend of the game, doing very exciting things down there in Houston at Johnny Chan's 88 Social. And I got pretty giddy to talk to him about the idea of maybe him coming to play on high stakes duel against Phil Hellmuth or a Patrick Antonius or really anybody. And it sounds like he's ready to get into that high roller scene a little bit.
Then that would be awesome. I mean, Johnny Chan's just one of those guys. He walks in the room, everybody just kind of pauses and whispers to each other, "Hey, that's Johnny Chan. Johnny Chan's over there." So that would be amazing to see him in the arena with these high rollers, whether it's in one of the high roller series or whether it is heads up against a Phil Hellmuth or Patrick Antonius or Phil Ivey or Tom Dwan. That would be incredible to have Johnny Chan back in the mix in Las Vegas. But as you said, Chad, that Texas poker scene is just thriving. It's Chan's Poker Club in Houston. I know Champions has a couple spots. I know Texas Card House has a couple spots, and Texas poker just absolutely blowing up. So I think he's probably doing fine in Houston for now, but if we could drag him out to Vegas once in a while, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, a big thank you to Johnny Chan for taking the time to chat with us. And remember, we're also going to be chatting here very shortly on this episode with Ryan Feldman and Nick Vertucci of Hustler Casino Live about the debut of their highly anticipated show. Before we get there, though, Jeff, we should cover another story, finish up our bracelet talk, and that's the GG Poker announcing their full WSOP online bracelet schedule from August 1st through September 12th. 33 more bracelets are going to be up for grabs.
Yeah, we knew this announcement was coming, and it finally was released by GG. You can check out the Poker News article for the full schedule, but I would say the highlights would most certainly include the way they are kicking it off with event number 1. It is a $50 buy-in, and it is a $1 million guarantee. A $50 buy-in, a $1 million guarantee. They also have the Millionaire Maker, $1,500 buy-in. It's going to be $1 million up top, of course, a $5 million guarantee. And then for the main event, it's really not too much of a drop-off from last year when everybody was stuck at home. It's a $5K buy-in, and it's a $20 million guarantee. They are going to limit players to 3 bullets apiece, same as last year. But I still think this is a really aggressive, really bold guarantee, Chad, considering last year's guarantee was $25 million, but nobody had anything to do except sit at home and fire. So this year, $20 million seems pretty ambitious to me.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I certainly wouldn't have expected it to be bigger because, like you said, last year, people were shut in a little bit more. The world's opened up a little bit more. There's more things to do. So it definitely is ambitious. The $50 buy-in kickoff event, $1 million guarantee, that just seems insane to me. That's a long ways to go. I know there's been some maybe critical feedback of a $50 event, but there was a $50 event last year. That's what I'm like, did people just not remember or notice that one? I don't know. It is what it is. And we talked about this on the last episode. I think there's a kind of a line that's been drawn. People are differentiating between online bracelet events and real life in-person bracelets. And, I know I've been referring to it more and more in coverage of, saying online bracelet winner as opposed to just WSOP bracelet winner maybe, or you know what I mean? Just that slight, not to say one is less than the other, but they are just different. And, I think people are becoming more and more accepting of that fact because, look, they're not going anywhere. Online bracelets are going to be here for a while. We've got 8 more coming up in Pennsylvania in that market, and there's been people who have been kind of critical about that. I think the times are changing. We got to change with the times. So lots of bracelets to be added.
And it's not having this huge impact on our overall standings, on our overall results. I mean, if you look at the WSOP all-time bracelet list, which we were looking at a little bit earlier, out of the top 50 players have won 4 or more bracelets. And I don't think one player in that top 50 has an online bracelet. So it's not like somebody's just shooting up the ranks because they won a bunch of online tournaments. Still ridiculously hard to accomplish to beat these kinds of fields. That $50 buy-in, you're going to have to fight through, tens of thousands of entries to win that tournament. We aren't going to see numbers too skewed. And like you said, Chad, sure, when you speak of a player's resume, you're going to differentiate between online and live. And then one event that I forgot to mention that was a big hit last year was the 10K Heads Up No Limit Hold'em Championship. And that will draw the best of the best. And also, Chad, on ggpoker.tv, coverage of that event, coverage of the main event by Norman, Chad, and Lon McCarron. How about that?
Yeah, that is pretty exciting. Adds that WSOP flavor to it. And, I know there's probably going to be a lot of people in the United States and other places around the world who are disappointed that they might not be able to get to play on GG Poker, at least compete for bracelets. But I'm happy to say, Jeff, that they can get a taste of what GG is all about with, they got it's called Club GG. And Poker News has its very own group, room, what have you. You can come, you can play, you can compete. It's a play money. You can get 100,000 in play chips for joining us. You can play with myself and others from the Poker News team. We're getting a lot of players to sign up and really just develop a fun little community. And what I'm excited about is it gives you the opportunity to really know what GG Poker is all about. Yeah, you might not be able to go on there and play for bracelets right now or play for real money, but you get to still experience what the software is like and just get that GG Poker feel, which I think is pretty exciting. So if you want, you can download the Club GG app. You can join the Poker News room. There'll be information on how to do that in the show notes, or just check pokernews.com and search for Club GG. That will all come up. In the meantime, we're going to have a GG Poker ambassador, Kevin Martin, tell you about one of their more exciting initiatives.
Kevin Martin from GG Poker here, and I just got to ask, have you heard about GG Care? Oh, you haven't? Well, guess what? It's the new daily promotion that rewards you for experiencing all the bad luck poker has to offer. The bad beats, the coolers, the suckouts, they're so frustrating. We hate them so much, but they cannot be avoided. But now, if you experience a bad beat on GG Poker, GG Care has your back. You'll automatically be registered to play in the next daily $30,000 GG Care flip out tournament. Here's the best part. You don't even have to be online for these flip out tournaments. Yes, you still have a chance for cash to go right into your balance. So remember, next time you're on GG Poker and you take a bad beat, GG Care has your back. So if you have not joined the fastest online growing website, then make sure you join the GG Poker community and join me at the tables very soon.
All right, we are back to talk to two guests out of California, the Hustler Casino Live, founders is a good way to say it, Nick Vertucci and Ryan Feldman. They have been working on this project for quite some time. It's going to be a new show 5 days a week, live streamed cash games from Hustler Casino in LA. I'm pretty excited about it. They're bringing years of experience, years of knowledge. They're bringing a bankroll behind it. This is going to be a high quality production. I think it's going to be a show that the poker world is very receptive to. I'm going to be tuning in. It's going to debut on August 3rd. So I sat down with Nick Vertucci and Ryan Feldman to get a few more details. Check it out. All right, I am with two guests right now. Some guys I'm very excited to catch up because it was back in November of last year when last I spoke to you guys. Ryan Feldman and Nick Vertucci, Hustler Casino Live. We got into the nitty-gritty and the details last year when you announced this project in partnership with LA's Hustler Casino, but now it's come to fruition. There is a launch date, August 3rd. Guys, you got to be excited. It's been a long road to get to this point.
Yeah, it really has. It really has. We've been brainstorming this, working on it, building the set, getting everything together for so long now. Just our deal with Hustler alone was, when we first started talking to them, it was over a year ago. And it's been a long process, but it's going to be worth it. And we're really, really excited for showing the poker world what we put together and the quality of the games and the production of what we're going to be doing 5 days a week.
I actually talked a little bit with Nick off the air about the quality of the production. And Nick, what can you tell the listeners a little bit about it? You said this is going to be a high quality affair.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, have you ever watched some poker streams and you're struggling to hear the table talk? You hear a lot of background noise. The video is suspect in a lot of cases. Again, not targeting anyone in particular. It's just in general, that's how it's been. And, a couple years back, when I was playing on some streams, one of the things I would always say is, man, how come the production of this just isn't better? There's so much potential here. There's so many poker fans, thousands of people watch, and there's got to be a way to monetize making this better and still making it worth it. And so when we went into this, Ryan and I made a decision. We're like, okay, look, we can kind of two-step into this, or we can just go all in on this thing. And so we put an exuberant amount of capital into the production side of this. So let's start with the Hustler Casino. First of all, the commitment they made with this stream and with us is bar none. The GM there, Sean Yapel, has vision and probably one of the greatest guys that we've ever met. And this guy gets it, man. And so we have a commitment even to him because he's given us such a great opportunity. And they've put a ridiculous amount of money in building this production stage. And if you know anything about the Flints, they don't do anything kind of half-assed. And so this thing is really grandioso. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to. It's pretty cool. But back to the point, Ryan and I have put in a ton of work and capital into this thing, and this thing is TV ready. When you see it, hear it, and watch it, the production part of this is going to be ridiculous. It is crisp. You can hear the players. There's no background interference. The ruffling of the chips doesn't overtake the sound of the players because of the high quality of the equipment that's going in there. So we're real excited about that. We're really proud of it. And we cannot wait on August 3rd to launch this first stream because it really is going to be an epic poker stream. And we believe that we're going to make the standard here. We really do believe that. And I know a lot of people say a lot of shit like that, and you're going to always say the great things like that. But truly, I believe we will be the top of the heap as far as streams.
We had kind of a vision going into this, Nick and I, of what we wanted the show to be, what we wanted to look like, what we wanted the elements in the actual broadcast to be. And it's one thing to have that vision, and it's another thing to be able to make those things happen. We committed early on that we're going to do whatever it takes financially and resource-wise and time and all of that to get exactly what we want. We had a long-term vision, and we were willing to do what it takes to be the bar none best live poker stream in the market. And we were able to get a couple guys to help us build this whole thing who are really, really good at what they do. We were able to lay out, this is what we envisioned, and they made it happen. And it's pretty amazing just seeing where we're at now in terms of just building the set and the control room and the equipment and the elements that we wanted on the screen. We're now a couple weeks away, and we're rehearsing, and it's pretty cool that they were able to make our vision come true.
Let's talk a little bit about the launch. We said it already, August 3rd. What can you tell us about what fans can expect? Do we know, what the stakes of the game are going to be? Do we know any of the players that might be there? Is there anything you can tease us with?
Yeah, so the first game that we're going to do Tuesday, August 3rd, the stakes are going to be a game that I kind of created when I was at the previous endeavor, Live on the Bike, and it's a 5 blinds with $50 big blind ante game. And it's kind of a weird structure where the blinds are small, but the big blind ante makes the game crazy. And so it's an uncapped game, and we're going to have a bunch of the regulars that play with us all the time when we've organized games over the years, and used to play with us over there. And so guys like Israeli Ron, guys like Dennis, the Menace, guys like that, Big John, people that, the real, like, live stream LA people know that these guys are action, they're fun, they're all friends. And so we're going to really put together some sick lineups that first week. And then Friday of that week, which will be our fourth game, will be our first high stakes game. And that'll be a 5,100 game. And we have some really cool people planned for that already. That's going to be a super active game. We just have a lot of businessmen, and we will have at least one pro that is well known in the community. We'll wait to announce that lineup, but we have like a really, really sick game for that first Friday. And we really want to go all out and have our first few games be amazing. And then we're going to really focus on the lineups, and especially that Friday game week after week, just making it fun to watch and not boring, and not people that don't talk, and, not people that don't play hands. Like, this is really important to us. And it's funny, the one thing that people say to me whenever I, tell them the details of the show, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to do how many days a week are you doing? 5 days a week. It's like, so many people, the response is, really? Like, you're crazy. 5 days a week? No way. And I'm like, well, no, Nick, maybe was that too much of a commitment? Am I shooting too high there with 5 days a week? But, we think we can do it, and it's going to be a lot of work, but we really want to set ourselves apart from everyone else. And we really want to have the most content of anyone, and people to know that, like, every day of the week they can go to Hustler Casino Live on YouTube and they can watch our shows. So we're really standing there.
I think I was going to ask, what the schedule is going to be like in 5 days a week is certainly exciting, because it just means you can tune in almost anytime you want to watch some great poker. Is it going to be, is there going to be a commentary team for all these broadcasts? Is it going to be, just a camera tuning in? What can fans expect in that regard?
No, every single broadcast is going to be